I held 3 different community posts over the last couple weeks specifically pertaining to action gacha games. What's your favorite type of gacha game? Which resulted in 39% voting action gacha games. Would you rather? Which resulted in an overwhelming 64% voting for action combat. And finally, what's the best action gacha game right now? Which had a surprisingly close result. These questions spawned this video. Well, that, and when I search for lists of the best gacha games, I get results like this. The best gacha games of 2023. The first game in this list, Raid Shadow Legends. Right here is a sponsored link to go play the game using their referral link, so they earn money from this. And while there are some incredible looking upcoming action games like Zenless Zone Zero, like Wuthering Waves, Project Mugen, Unending Dawn, and Duet Night Abyss, which I just did a video on, by the way. You should go check that out. I know you're thirsty for a fun new action game to play. I'm here today to help you out. You can thank me by liking the video, leaving a comment, subscribing to the channel for more content like this in the future. Trust me, you're not going to want to miss out on what I post. Now let's go ahead and jump right in. Genshin Impact is an open-world RPG that is often described as being a walking or minigame simulator by many gacha gamers. Yet despite its very narrative-driven style of gameplay, this game has an enormous world to explore, a lot of monster diversity, and one of the more intricate action combat styles in the genre. You deploy a party of up to 4 different characters, with each character possessing their own unique combat style and elemental affinity. Combat's not very fast by any means, it's slower, more concise, and more calculated. Yet, there is a complexity in the elemental reaction system, which allows for you to combine numerous elements together to trigger an effect, like Electro and Hydro combining into Electro-Charged, Pyro and Hydro combining into Vaporize. This encourages elemental synergy when building your team, which is only expanded upon with individual character passives that benefit from certain elemental or status conditions. Genshin is a stunning world, beautiful graphics, engaging story, and fantastic voice acting. It currently earns over $150 million per month across every major platform, with China and global combined. Punishing Grey Raven is a chapter and mission-based RPG that is generally considered by the gacha community to have the best action combat in the genre. It isn't necessarily the best action gacha game, as was made evident in the images supplied earlier, but it is considered to have the best combat. You deploy a party of up to 3 different characters, with each character possessing their own unique combat style and weapon. Combat is arguably the fastest, most fluid, and by far the most responsive out of any current gacha game on the market. It absolutely excels in this department. Characters in Genshin feel like you're hitting with a wet noodle, whereas Punishing Grey Raven has a certain weight to your attacks. Beyond this, the complexity of the combat is very limited. Bosses are difficult, there are complex mechanics that you need to learn and adapt to. There is a real-time dodge and parry system. Sure, there are elemental affinities and class archetypes, but I feel like those were a bit of an afterthought. There doesn't seem to be a whole lot to building your team, not much in terms of synergy. You kind of just go with the most OP units and equip them with the best in slot gear, while you mash your buttons to some of the fastest eye candy you'll find in the genre. Punishing Grey Raven has a great story and damn beautiful characters. It currently earns approximately $1.5 million per month globally, and supposedly $5 million to $15 million per month in China. Before I list any other gacha games, I want to take a moment here to thank my incredible patrons over on Patreon who allow for me to continue to do videos like this every single day. You're all the real action stars here. Honkai Impact is exactly like Punishing Grey Raven, a chapter and mission-based RPG that is considered by the gacha community that dislike Punishing Grey Raven to have the best action combat in the genre. You're pretty much guaranteed to be given one of these 2 games as an answer if you ask anyone which gacha has the best combat. And it's for valid reasoning. Both games are very similar. Honkai Impact features an evasion ability, a block ability, a parry ability, counterattacks. You deploy a group of up to 3 characters, with each character possessing their own unique abilities and fighting styles. I don't think it's necessarily as fast or as fluid as Punishing Grey Raven, and I don't think that's an issue. It's a little slower, a little more concise, and I think that aids in separating it. If you want a slower, more casual, yet faster and more impactful combat system than Punishing Grey Raven and Genshin Impact, this is your game. It's decidedly more anime than its direct competition, with arguably a better story than most pure action gacha games. I know someone in the comments is gonna give me shit for not going through every intricate detail as to what makes Honkai's combat better than Punishing Grey Raven, but I don't care. I'm not here for that. I'm giving surface level information to aid potential players in deciding whether a game is of interest to them. Honkai Impact 3rd earns approximately $1 to $2 million per month globally, and roughly $5 to $10 million per month in China. Guardian Tales is the most unique gacha game in this list. It's a chapter and mission-based RPG, but it is very narrative-focused. Every chapter, every mission, and every side mission has its own story, its own reason and purpose. Sometimes they're story-related, saving a princess. Other times it's helping a ghost woo the man she's been sending subtle hints at for the last few hundred years. Or becoming a slime, or helping Link obtain the Master Sword only to break it by accident and give him a laser beam rifle as compensation. It's a hilariously lighthearted yet also dark, narrative-driven game that's unlike anything you'll play. It features full-action combat. You deploy up to 4 characters at once, each with their own unique weapons and abilities. Differently to Punishing Gray Raven and Honkai Impact, which are fairly straightforward. You run in a straight line and you kill monsters in your way. Guardian Tales has players explore every zone they're in. You get hidden treasure, new quests, unlock entirely new areas to explore. You slash, you shoot arrows, magic, all with a single button. You cycle abilities. The combat isn't particularly deep by any stretch of the imagination, but it works so effortlessly and only complements a quirky story that is present. Unfortunately, in spite of how unique and fun Guardian Tales actually is, it only makes roughly $500,000 a month globally. Tower of Fantasy is an open-world MMORPG and is often considered by many to be a prime example of what not to do if you want your gacha game to be successful. Yet in spite of this, I think the game can be a lot of fun if you get through 1.0, 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, 1.4, 2.0, 2.1, 2.2, 2.3, 2.4, and any additional 2.x numbers into 3.0. Skipping like 95% of the game, it actually gets pretty fun. This is the only MMO in this entire list, interestingly enough, and that's for good reason. I can't imagine how insanely pay-to-win gacha MMOs would be. Oh, wait, no, never mind. I know exactly how pay-to-win gacha MMOs are, especially in PvP. Tower of Fantasy features a relatively simple type of action combat. You obtain weapons and you equip them onto a single character, allowing you to use 3 different types of weapon at any given time, acting much in the same way as alternate characters do. Each weapon has its own distinct style and abilities. Weapon resonance exists in-game, with players getting different resonance effects by equipping matching weapon types. As an example, for the attack resonance, you need 2 DPS type weapons, which increases your damage. There are elemental passives and elemental resonances as well, which, while not acting in the same way as it does in Genshin, do provide increases to damage or provide statistical or control effects after activation, dodges, parries. The world is beautiful, the story is an absolute abomination. Voice acting, for the most part, makes your ears bleed. Characters, at least towards the end of 2.4 and definitely moving into the 3.x patches, are pretty damn good looking as well. It currently earns approximately $800,000 per month globally on mobile. PC earnings are not currently publicly disclosed. Aethergazer is a chapter and mission-based RPG that released earlier this year to a lot of discussion. Is it too similar to Punishing Gray Raven to succeed in a market that is already heavily dominated by several larger titles? How will it set itself apart? And admittedly, it didn't. I think Aethergazer is a phenomenal game, don't get me wrong. I've had an absolute blast playing through it, but at the same time, if you already played Punishing Gray Raven, this is gonna be very much the same. You deploy 3 characters, each character has their own weapon type and distinct combat style. Combat's pretty fast and very fluid. It feels a lot like Punishing Gray Raven, and honestly, that's a compliment. I do think it's a little lacking in terms of story though, but that's more than fine given many popular gacha games right now had poor starts. The character models in this game are phenomenal, the combat's admittedly a lot of fun, and this is a great alternative to Punishing Gray Raven if you've done everything or you're just bored. Sadly, the game averages roughly $700,000 globally right now, but that might be enough to sustain it. Snowbreak is a chapter and mission-based third-person shooter, the only game of its kind in this list, and for good reason. Shooters are often pretty bad on mobile, in my opinion. Put the pitchforks down, guys. Snowbreak thankfully has a PC version that is significantly better. There's nothing special about the combat in Snowbreak. You have a variety of different weapons that you can equip and blow your load. I mean, empty your load. Wait, no, damn, that just, no matter how I say that, just sounds bad. Oh, wait, no, unload onto your enemy. That's what I was going for. There we go. Whether it be via sniper rifle, a shotgun, assault rifle, or SMG. You can deploy up to 3 characters at any given time, and each character has their own playstyle and abilities. The story is pretty basic, the world is pretty narrow and linear, but the gameplay, your little base of operations where you can interact with your characters physically and the unique combat, all make up for that. Unfortunately, Snowbreak has dipped down to $300,000 per month globally, even though it just launched a couple months ago. And that right there is pretty much what the genre has to offer. I know many people in the community posts that I did were leaving comments like, what about Azure Lane? What about Blue Archive? What about Arknight? Those games are not action games. These games are. One of these games might be just what you're looking for. So I urge you to go ahead and give one, if not all of them, a try if you haven't already. Otherwise, check out one of the videos on screen right now. I'm sure you'll find something that you like.